Pulling on Venti or Tartaglia, because I know a lot of people are curious and are trying to figure out which one of these two might be worth pulling on the banner. And I have a couple different opinions on this, so I wanted to go into it. The first character, Venti, I would consider Venti basically a must-have unit to clear certain content, especially Abyss. Venti is probably one of the most important characters you can pull if you are able to pull Venti. Alongside Venti, I would consider Bennett to be an absolute very useful unit to any other team compilation. So the reason why Venti is so good is because of his crowd control and utility that he offers all of your teams. Nobody in the game is able to do the same things that Venti is as a support, and he's just an all-around awesome unit to have. And so if you get the chance to pull for Venti during his banner, I would highly suggest it. Otherwise, Childe, and my stats right now aren't the greatest. I don't even think I have what artifacts on here. I haven't leveled all my artifacts. So I was switching things around. Childe is one of the best sub DPS / DPS units. If you have him at C6, right, then he's a pure melee unit who just happens to also have the ability to use a bow. But if you're like me and you have him at C0, he's a useful sub DPS. He's fun to use. He's a cool unit. He's got a fun gameplay style. But he isn't necessary by any means. Childe is just a character that if you like the character, you like the design, you like the gameplay, then I think it's worth it. But the thing is, we don't really know what's around the corner with these new units, and you've got to deal with the fact of a little bit of power creep going on. So these newer, stronger units are going to probably outclass Childe's abilities, potentially, whereas Venti is a lot more future-proof. Hey y'all, future me here. I forgot to add this in, so I just wanted to say it now that if you do like my videos and the content, please leave a like, let me know your comments and thoughts, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future and you enjoy the stuff I'm doing, because I'm trying to build my content now and, you know, do all that kind of stuff. So much appreciated. And oh, you can also leave hit the notification on the bells for like the future video updates, because I'm going to be uploading these a lot more regularly. Because his utilities and skills are very useful, as he's not really a main damage dealer. Now, when it comes to constellations for Childe and Venti, Venti is going to be a character that doesn't benefit as much from his constellations. You do not need Venti to have a lot of constellations to be a very useful unit. His first skill it doesn't really make that much of a difference because you're not really using him as a damage dealer. But if you can get him constellations, he definitely gets a big up abilities, utility, and support. His C2 is very, very good, lowering the anemo resistance and a 12% additional anemo resistance drop with physical resistance while airborne as well for Skyward Sonnet. C3 is obviously just a boost in damage. A 25% anemo damage bonus when he picks up an orb or particle, which is very good for using the skills. And then his sixth constellation, anemo resistance decreased by 20%, and elemental absorption occurs, and their resistance towards that corresponding element is also decreased by an additional 20%. So a C6 Venti is seriously cracked. Like, if you can pull it off, if you want to, by all means, go for it. He will do massive damage, massive support, great utility. I personally, I've never invested that much into a single character because I just like collecting more characters, though. Now, Childe. So again, Venti, it's cool if you can get the constellations with Venti. It's just not necessary. With Childe, right, his C1, very good. Drops the cooldown of Foul Legacy Raging Tide by 20%, which is his switch stance, right? So that can be very helpful. The switch stance is when you're using Tartaglia and you're in the bow form, you use this elemental skill right here, it switches to the blade form. But if I use this for too long, it will actually give me a really long cooldown on it if I don't switch quickly. But his regular switch time is about 15 seconds. So a 20% decrease is going to help you to juggle his melee form more oftenly. This is very good for his energy recharge. C4 is where a lot of powerful things start happening with Tartaglia. And if you want to invest a lot, if you're a whale or whatever, you definitely can go for this. And I think of all the characters that you can C6 in the game, Tartaglia definitely benefits a lot from being C6 and is a lot of fun to play. But again, you know, if you can afford to do that, you probably already know all this information and you don't need to watch a video like this to be aware of that, right? So that's my opinions. I think that Venti, if you can get Venti, I would absolutely go for it. I think he's going to give you a big boost in your team comps, and especially for the Spiral Abyss, right? Because there's only so much power you need in your team to be able to clear most of the regular content. But with the Spiral Abyss, especially because if you want to get all the rewards and primogems for each reset, right? You really want to have a really strong team to carry you all the way through 12-3. If you can get 9 stars on the floor 12, floor 11, floor 10, floor 9, you know, that's a lot of primogems you're getting every 2 weeks when it resets, right? So you know, for that reason alone, I think Venti is very good for earning you primogems over time. I think he's a good investment over time because he helps you to clear content on Spiral Abyss, which gives you more primogems more quickly, and that accumulates over time. So you're almost getting your money back or your gems back for pulling Venti by being able to utilize him in the Abyss and making your teams that much more efficient. So let me know in the comments what you think, guys, and your opinions. I'd love to know. But as it stands right now, that's kind of my opinion on these two characters, having played them both and having them both on my teams. Tartaglia is fun to use. He's not on my mainstay team that often because I have other characters that I use, but he's a fun character. But I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to pull for him unless you really, really just like the character. Venti, definitely a good choice.